This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. Lend my voice to those who can. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome to the Special Chronicles show, and it's Daniel Smrokowski. I'm the founder of Special Chronicles and Special Olympic Southern Survival International Global Messenger and a Service Ambassador at United Airlines in Chicago. Our website is specialchronicles.com, where you can stream archives of over 750 episodes absolutely for free. And follow Special Chronicles on social media, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. This week on the Special Chronicles podcast and our Unified at Work series, season 4, part 7. We're on the job with Kristin Lewis, Senior Manager for Global Community Engagement at United Airlines, and known Kristin for quite a few years, since we started the Service Ambassador program about 4 years ago, and so excited to finally have her on the program. So please put your virtual hands together as we welcome Kristin to Special Chronicles. Sure.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi. It's good to have you on the show.
I'm so excited. I know. After almost 4 years, I'm finally on. It's exciting.
Yeah, I know. So, I think Susie was on when we started about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's good to finally have you on. So for our listeners, since we've known each other for the past 4 years since the Service Ambassador program got started, but share with us, with our listeners, how we got connected, and because I think this October will mark the 4-year anniversary since we started working at United here in Chicago. So tell us a little bit about how we got connected and your role at United.
Sure. 4 years in October. It'll be our friend anniversary. I met you and the other service ambassadors on your orientation day here at Willis. So, and that was very soon after my first day at Willis. So we kind of started at United, very similar times. And that was really exciting. I got to meet you, got to meet your dad, got to hear a little bit more about the program, and learn how I was going to work with you all, which was super duper exciting. My role at United, I am the Senior Manager of Global Community Engagement Partnerships. And what that really means is my team is lucky enough to manage our nonprofit portfolio. So we manage local organizations based in Chicago or Newark or LA, and then also our national and international partners. So I feel really honored to be able to collaborate with Special Olympics International and, of course, work with all of the SOSAs, you included. So really excited to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember that orientation day 4 years ago. It was pretty exciting, and I don't think I know when I first heard about the jobs. I didn't at the time didn't know that much about it since it was creating these jobs for the first time for us. So it's been an amazing experience now, looking back 4 years ago of what we've all been able to learn together. So we're going to go ahead and take a first break, and then we'll get right into talking about the Service Ambassador program. And then later on in the episode, we'll talk about our experience being in Berlin at the World Games. And then we'll touch on the plane polls at the end of the episode as well. So our guest is Kristin Lewis, Global Community Engagement Team at United Airlines, and we'll be back after our show break on Special Chronicles Support for Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. As an independent public media podcast, Special Chronicles will always be there for you. Now we're asking you to be there for us. As a nonprofit independent media organization, we can only make programs like Special Chronicles with listener support. Our programs provide weekly, candid, honest, and inspiring conversations about the people with disabilities community that creates awareness, support, and advocacy within each week's episode. Listeners tell us our shows are an enjoyable and necessary podcast for the intellectual and developmental disability community and everyone else who is able to listen to stories about life from a different angle. Please, if you and your family love our weekly podcasts, make a one-time, monthly, or annual gift of thanks today. Support this podcast at specialchronicles.com/give. That's specialchronicles.com/give. So we mentioned at the beginning of the episode how we got connected, which was when the SOSA Ambassador program got started 4 years ago. I've featured my story coming to United, as well as Z's and Kyle and Lowen's. But then I've also the past couple years, I think last year we featured the Houston SOSAs and the Denver SOSAs as well. And so now hopefully next year we can maybe feature some of the new SOSA ambassadors as well. And so our listeners the past few years have, at least on this Unified at Work series, has learned a little bit about the SOSA Ambassador program. But for our listeners, can you tell us from your perspective how, like, a little bit about the origin story of how our SOSA Ambassador program, how our Special Olympic SOSA Ambassador program got started at United, hiring the four of us OG SOSAs 4 years ago in Chicago, and a little bit about how the program got started.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. So when we initially started our partnership with Special Olympics International, we had job shadow days for athletes to come to our airport. And those were kind of twofold. So number one, to get comfortable in the airport environment, which can be a little intense. A lot of noises, a lot of people, a lot of kind of making decisions on the fly, as well as just learning more about who works at an airport. Most people think flight attendants and pilots when you think about an airport, but you certainly know, and all of our SOSAs know, that it's really a city. An airport is a huge city. And so there are so many different rules and there's so many different opportunities for you to learn. So Jonna McGrath, who led our O'Hare customer service, but then moved over. She's now in Denver, leading that amazing airport. She and her team hosted these job shadow opportunities for athletes. And after doing a few of them, she came back to our team and said, these athletes are great. Like they could work here. I mean, some of them are so excited about, aviation or the airport. They are telling me things about, how the airline runs or how to board planes. So she came to us and said, how can we get Special Olympics athletes to work at the airport? And our team said, that's a great question. How can we get Special Olympics athletes to work at the airport? So she worked with the customer service team really to define the Special Olympics Service Ambassador role. So what does that look like? Who would be working with them? Who would be mentoring them? What are some of the opportunities that they would need to feel comfortable in the airport environment, to serve our customers? And then how could we support them? So really it developed out of, Jonna's love for hosting all the Special Olympics athletes and seeing so much potential in all of you who were at the airport. So that's kind of the origin story of the Special Olympics Ambassador.
Awesome. Yeah, I know we already love getting to know Jonna, and she's been on this podcast, I think think we had on a couple of times. So yeah, it's really neat. And last fall in Special Olympics Illinois, we had a athlete leadership academy, and she spoke there as well. And so for our listeners, we might like throw around the term SOSA or Special Olympics Service Ambassador Program or just Service Ambassador. Can you maybe give us, for our listeners, maybe a brief kind of definition of what is a Special Olympic Service Ambassador, what is a Service Ambassador? Because I think we hear kind of that we hear that term SOSA thrown around, but then like I think like on our official job title, it's Service Ambassador. So can you kind of walk us through kind of the SOSA, kind of what that is, but then also kind of tie that in like our official job title is Service Ambassador. So kind of the official job title kind of came to be, and then how the kind of SOSA kind of name came.
Yeah, how they work together.
Yeah.
I think the amazing thing is, and you can keep me honest too when I'm talking about your job, your role, or how you started at United. But the Service Ambassador is really just an opportunity for Special Olympics athletes to work in the lobby and to help our customers. So really be that Service Ambassador. So help them with directions, help them checking in their bag, better understand where the TSA line is and the standard security line is, and really answer questions. I think the SOSA title came from, we really loved the idea of it being co-branded. So Special Olympics and United Airlines. Yeah. So that gave us an opportunity to A, highlight our partnership, but then B, to really show that we're collaborating with this nonprofit to create jobs for athletes, but also listen to what the athletes need and want in their lives as well. So did I answer your question?
Yeah. No, it did. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that especially that our uniform is co-branded, especially with United and Special Olympics, because we're able to, when we're physically on the job looking at the airport, whether we're looking in the lobby or we're helping assist at the gates as well, we're able to really, even though, like you said, we're helping to give directions, we're helping to count bags at the gates, helping to check passports, all those duties that in those tasks that we do on the job at the airport, we're able to, people are able to see that the partnership is a lot more than just United giving money to Special Olympics. It really highlights and to see us athletes physically working, people are able to see that it's not just like a nice thing that United is doing. It gives a lot of more of a reason to. Yeah.
I think it also helps slow people down a little bit, especially in the airport. You're moving fast. Maybe you're not in a great mood. Maybe you're running a little late. And being able to work with you and your fellow SOSAs, I think slows people down a little bit to be like, oh, Special Olympics and United, what's that all about? Yeah. Just gives people a moment to take a breather and appreciate, oh, wow. To your point, it's not just writing a check. United's really looking to see, okay, how do we integrate our partnership into the airport, into our training, into, using our travel resources to get athletes to places. So really making sure people understand that our partnership is multi-pronged, and it's not, oh, you're doing something nice. It's oh no, we're doing something really imperative. And there's also strong business reasons behind that. with United Next, we're hiring a lot of people. And so I'm really excited that the SOSA program is going to expand to other hubs because I know we need the support in the airports.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. And like, I've like there's countless stories that I've heard of when I've helped people at the airport with giving directions or helping them tag their bags. A lot of people have thanked me for being kind and showing that kindness and love and caring and support. I know I've had Oscar Yunus on a couple of times. Most recently when he came out with his new book, and that's something that he highlighted of the core values. Caring is something that comes natural to us SOSAs, and that's what. And then I've heard other customer service agents say that. I think one person said that we are the missing piece to United. So I think that also kind of highlights the importance of what we bring every day.
Exactly. And as athletes, you know how to accept coaching. You also know how to give coaching. So whether that's to your fellow employees or to people in the gate, you can enthusiastically get people where they need to be safely, part of Core 4, but also being caring, being really thoughtful.
Yeah, absolutely. So what have you seen has been the impact of a SOSA at United? Whether it's because you've had an opportunity to travel to a bunch of the different hubs and see not only us OG SOSAs in Chicago, but some of the other SOSAs that United has hired. What have you seen from seeing us on the job has been the impact?
I think one of the most telling things is, we launched the OG SOSA program here in Illinois in 2019. So that was right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
What a time to join the airline business, right, Daniel? But I think the most exciting thing is our other hubs still wanted to have the SOSA program. They were really excited and inspired by what we were doing at O'Hare. And so they came back to us and said, no, we still want to expand. So we still want the SOSA program in Denver. We still want the SOSA program in Houston. And that really showed me oh, wow, what an impact you all were having at the airport for morale for employees, but also, for, our customers being excited about seeing athletes in the airport, learning more about our partnership. So just the fact that, it was launched in Illinois, but quickly wanted to grow into our other hubs, even during a time of intense disruption for our industry. So, to your point, one of the gate agents says, SOSAs were the missing piece. I think, at a very turbulent time, having the SOSA program expand was a really wonderful way to keep our employees inspired and engaged. And also during a time where maybe things were slowing down, it helped them learn better skills to be more inclusive and to be more thoughtful with not only their fellow employees and the SOSAs, but also any customers that come in. And so I think just the desire for all of our hubs are excited to have the SOSA program. But then, all of the learning opportunities that our employees have had, just working with you, being able to ask questions, being able to get thoughtful answers and kind of workshop issues. I mean, I think it's just been phenomenal.
Absolutely. And speaking of, you had mentioned that we're growing the SOSA program across the hubs. How do you see that we continue to grow the SOSA program across the United company, across the hubs? I know we've talked like in some pre-shows, and I know we've talked, like you and I have talked off air, kind of like how we're expanding. But how do you see like us growing the SOSA program? Is it good, like for us, like across all the hubs to kind of be all on the same page, or is it like, because like right now, like it seems like each hub kind of does their own thing with the program, or is it better for us, for our SOSA program, to kind of, when we expand, to kind of all kind of have kind of the same kind of playbook where we're all kind of hiring and working with the new SOSAs, all kind of like, how do you see us growing the SOSA program?
I think you nailed it. What we're looking to do, obviously, we started in 2019. It grew during the pandemic, which is exciting. But also, I think this year we're realizing we do need a playbook. We need not guardrails, but we need to better understand the capacity of the program, a succession plan, continued growth in the company. So we're working with our customer service team and our HR team right now to develop not only the playbook of, how to recruit athletes, interview athletes, and get them started with the SOSA program, but thinking through those next steps. So the SOSA's growth during their career at United. I think the main goal for me personally is to have the SOSA, the Special Olympics Service Ambassadors, at all of our hubs, and even expand into some of our larger line stations. It's a great program. It's a wonderful way for us to be an active part of the inclusion revolution. But it's also solving a business need. We need folks in the airport to help support our customers as we continue to grow. And so I think my goal in the next couple of years is definitely to have a SOSA program in all of our hub markets, but to think through how do we expand into the line markets, but then also, to your point, how do we have a playbook so everybody's working off of the same playbook and understands what the SOSA program means and how best to support the athletes in the program as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that idea. And I want to touch on, before we move on to the next topic, something that you said. You mentioned about having a succession plan and a career path. So can you talk to us a little bit about, like, how do you feel about a career path for us SOSAs and opening doors to new opportunities at United? Because as you and many others, like supervisors and customer service agents, a lot of them get to know us SOSAs and see that there's a lot more beyond our intellectual disabilities. Like, people are able to kind of look beyond our challenges and see that there's a lot more skills that we have. So touch on that succession plan a little bit more, and kind of how do you feel, like, kind of on what, like, that kind of career path could kind of look like for us SOSAs?
Yeah, no, I'm probably something I'd have to talk to my friends in HR about, because they're the subject matter experts. But just like Jana saw the potential and the skill set in the athletes that were coming to the job shadow, I think we're going to take a look at that similarly. So what are the skills that you're bringing to the table? How have you developed and grown as a leader in your time as a SOSA? And then how's that translated to other roles in the company? And what does that look like? And so that's also part of the conversations we're having to develop that playbook. So there's a sense of consistency for all of our SOSAs at each hub. But then also, what's the plan beyond that? And what roles are available, have the flexibility needed to support the athletes, but also we know that you can grow into them. Or through the SOSA program, have developed the skill sets necessary to make that next move. So like I said, I'm going to lean on my friends and not overpromise everything. But I am excited, to your point, individuals, folks that work at United, seeing all of the skills and opportunities you bring to the table, and not and ID isn't the first thing that comes to the mind. It's more potential. Yeah.
I think that's like one of the best things that I think that we are doing with our SOSA program is we'll highlight in like we're not limited to like the challenges that United is not limiting us to simple simple tasks or to our challenges you and everyone at the global community engagement team, to our supervisors, to our managers, to the associations that we're working with at the airport. Everyone is seeing, just by interacting with us and working alongside us, able to see us as humans, see us with different skills, and people are not even able to, people are truly able to, I think, really look beyond all ID, beyond all disabilities. And I think that's the powerful part of this program, and that's what's exciting about us, us growing beyond the service ambassadors jobs.
You got it. Exactly.
Yeah, awesome. So we're going to go ahead and take another break, and then we'll come back. We'll dive into talking about where we were this past June in Berlin at the Special Olympics World Games 2023, and we'll dive into all about our experience there after this next break right here on Special Chronicles. We'll be right back. Support for Special Chronicles comes from ComEd. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with the ComEd Energy Force Ambassador Program. The Energy Force is the country's first energy efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. ComEd is powering lives, and Rary is powering us here at Special Chronicles to keep the lights on and our technology is powered on. As ComEd powers the lives of us, they are literally giving a voice to people with special needs. We thank ComEd for the generous support of our mission at Special Chronicles. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd. That's specialchronicles.com/ComEd. Support for Special Chronicles comes from United Airlines Bridge Disability Business Resource Group. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with United Airlines and the Bridge BLG. Bridge BLG is committed to being an ally for all employees and customers with disabilities. Bridge helps to create internal awareness to keep accessibility needs in mind and partner with key organizations to empower disability inclusion for employment and travel. Bridge, connecting people of all abilities. Book your travel today on United.com or on the award-winning United app. Learn more on United's commitment to disability inclusion for employment and travel at specialchronicles.com/United. That's specialchronicles.com/United. Our guest is Kristin Lewis, the Senior Manager, Global Community Engagement Team. And Kristin, one of the big, in addition to the SOSA Ambassador Program, one of the biggest parts of the partnership is with the Special Olympics World Games, and most recently happened in Berlin, Germany, this past June, that we both attended the world's largest inclusive sports event. So maybe begin and share with us from a little bit about what your experience was of how United Airlines supported these World Games, and a little bit about your perspective of why you wanted to attend.
Sure. I think first and foremost, obviously being an airline, we were excited to be able to get all of those athletes, coaches, and volunteers to Berlin. So I was able to attend a fun kickoff in New York, where we had about 200, maybe 250 athletes, coaches, and volunteers. Had a lovely dinner, and then the next morning split. Half of us went to Newark, and we were able to do an awesome send-off for our athletes there, for them to fly to Berlin, and was just an awesome opportunity for us to donate travel to get the athletes to New York to hit the road and go to the World Games. But obviously just an amazing opportunity for us to highlight our partnership in a couple different ways. Sponsoring the Global Athlete Leadership Congress was phenomenal. And this wasn't your first games, but it was my first game. Truly, truly amazing. Being there for the opening ceremony was phenomenal. The energy in the space, the positivity in the space, the celebratory energy for all of the athletes involved and all of their families that were celebrating. It really felt like all of Germany was kind of celebrating us with us, because that was a full Coliseum, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I got to walk in with Portugal. I got to walk into that arena, and just the cheers and the excitement. It really brought me to tears, just the knowing how hard the athletes had worked to get there, to represent their country was just mind-boggling. And even though I don't speak Portuguese, I was cheering with them and high-fiving with all the athletes, and really felt like part of the team in that moment. It was just a phenomenal experience. And you were on center stage, so you could tell me, how did that feel? Because seeing you and Renee and Hannah, oh my gosh, how are they doing that? This is
It was an amazing experience, because and this was the first time that all 10 of us Southern Survival International Global Messengers got to also, in addition to be on stage, we also got to walk in with a few of the delegations at the beginning of the Twitter athletes. So I walked in with Aruba, and but then all 10 of us were on stage. Tim Shriver gave his speech, and then after Manu from Brazil, she gave a speech. But it was an incredible experience to be on stage, like on behalf of the over 6 million athletes across the globe, to be representing like not only like our fellow athletes like in our region, in North America, in across the U.S., but also like to represent all the other over 6 million athletes across the globe. I think one impactful brief story from my perspective of when we were on stage, at the one particular moment at the end of Manu's speech, there was a moment where we all had joined hands, and then Tim had joined his hands with us, and we all raised our hands up, and that, I think that showed Unity, that was also the name of the mascot as well. But it's the fact that we all joined our hands together and joined our hands with Tim. I think it showed the love and the truly like the inclusion revolution in action of how we were all coming together for the same mission of showing that it doesn't matter what barriers that we have. We're all from different cultures. We're all from different parts of the globe, but we're all able to, come together and be included, be accepted, and love and care for each other. And I think that's the power of the Special Olympics movement is what we were able to show when we were on stage.
For sure. I think everybody in that space felt it and really felt it. And I was blown away, again, this being my first World Games, how much other content was available for athletes and their families and the coaches and the volunteers. Obviously, the amazing athletics, but with the leadership conference and seeing the projects that had been put together by Special Olympics athletes, by talking to so many different athletes from India, from Jamaica, from Canada. I mean, it was really, really phenomenal, and how everybody was excited and energized for one another's success.
Yeah.
And I did realize I needed many more pens. I did not have enough pens on my lanyard. And I said, next time I'm gonna have this lanyard fully full, and I'm gonna have 2 bags of pens in both my pockets because I felt bad. At the end of it, I was like, "Do you want any other pens?" I gave those some of my United pens. I was like, "Sure, you can take that."
The Global Athlete Congress was amazing. I think because of my schedule was really busy that week, so we didn't spend that much time at the Global Athlete Congress. But then there was also the Global Forum for Inclusion, which was another event that was taking place. Manu and I co-led a session about athlete leadership and how it impacts in the communities. But then another event that we were both at was the Founders Reception, I for myself, I had the opportunity to play in a unified trivia pursuit game where there was a few of us, and then I think they pulled random people from the audience to play, and it was it was a fun game, but I think the buzzer sound was a little quiet, so it was a little bit.
I was going to say because you and Dale were partners, weren't you?
Yeah.
And I was like, flag on the field because Dale and Daniel, you did buzz.
Yeah.
So that was a tough competition. I felt like you should have won the puzzle. Or you should have won the game.
I know. Because I think a lot of times, Dale and I did kind of get the buzzer, but
looking at each other like,
we buzzed. But it was still a fun game, but it was neat to interact with a lot of people. I've known a few of Mrs. Shriver's grandkids for a while. I've known Timbo for a while. Molly Shriver and Kathleen from the Founders Council, they were on this podcast a couple years ago, I think, and Tim has been on a couple times, and but can you tell us a little bit about your experience at the Founders Reception?
Sure. I mean, I was kind of blown away by the spectrum of people there. So you had some famous actors and actresses. You had representation from the WWE. You had Olympian athletes. I mean, it was really a star-studded affair. And everybody was so excited to be there. Everybody was so excited to support Special Olympics and be together to champion the work that everyone was doing in Berlin. So I was probably maybe shyer than I usually am because I was like, what am I doing here? But then I saw you and Renee, and I was like, okay, my friends are here. So I saw Kevin from ESPN. I was like, okay, I know some people here. So it was a lot of fun. It was really lovely and fun to be together and celebrate making it to Berlin, I think. But then, getting some pictures to put on my LinkedIn and my Instagram too with me, and I forget the wrestler's name. He was so wonderful, but he was so big. So big. I was like, hello. Great.
It was, I think that the following reception was really neat, that they were able to highlight the global programs, really highlight the spirit of Venus Kennedy Shriver and how we're all able, as athletes, whether it's partners, whether it's the global ambassadors, we're all able to kind of still be able to, talk with each other, connect, and it's a really, I think, powerful time to be at the founders reception.
It was also really nice to see so much involvement from the Shriver family, so much involvement in investment, to really kind of carry the original vision through, and you could see like generationally, which is also wonderful. It's already established as Special Olympics, but it's going to continue to be just as successful because of the investment of the grandkids as well.
So with these Special Olympics World Games in Berlin just happening this past June, what do you feel has been the legacy of these World Games, from the time that you spent, whether it was at the opening ceremonies or the founders reception or the Global Athlete Congress, or what, or the many different events happening that week? What do you feel is the legacy that these World Games has on our community?
I think after being separated for so long with COVID, it was really amazing to all be together, to celebrate, to cheer each other on, to comfort each other when, things maybe didn't turn out the way that you had hoped. But just the sense of camaraderie and unity. I know it sounds funny because that was the name of the mascot, but which, side note, was adorable, and I bought 3 of those little stuffies. It's so cute. But I really felt, especially coming out of COVID, it was really phenomenal for all the athletes to be together and celebrate the fact that they were all there. You could feel the positive energy, and you could feel the excitement too.
I know. The Unity mascot was really neat. I bought one of those plush mascots. For the viewers, Kristin is showing on the screen what Unity looks like. But I bought my niece, who just turned 2. I bought her one, and then a fun fact: I was on a team of global athletes who. I think we had a couple of different calls, but we came up with the name Unity. So there was there was a bunch of us. There was a few athletes from Germany, a few of us from the U.S., from different parts of the globe, and on a couple of different. I think we had a couple of different Zoom calls, but we brainstormed like different phrases, different themes, different words all around these board games and kind of what the message of this movement is. And so, yeah, we came up with the name Unity. Yeah. We're going to take one final break, and then we'll dive into our final topic as we wrap up the show, which we've got to talk about the upcoming plane polls that United is sponsoring. So we'll be right back right here on SpecialChronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting, the easiest, most affordable option to get started in podcasting. At Special Chronicles, we proudly host our weekly podcast with Podbean and highly recommend you use Podbean Podcast Hosting to get started in podcasting today. Sign up for an unlimited hosting plan and get 1 month free now to get started in podcasting today when you visit specialchronicles.com/Podbean. That's specialchronicles.com/Podbean. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard, the easiest way to create professional live streams. StreamYard is a live streaming studio in your browser. Interview guests, share your screen, and much more. Stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and other platforms. Sign up for StreamYard today using our StreamYard referral link when you visit specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. That's specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. Our guest is Kristin Lewis, Senior Manager of Global Community Engagement at United Airlines. And Kristin, in the first couple of segments, we first touched on the Service Ambassador Program, which is, I think, one part of the global partnership with United and Special Olympics. Then we touched on the World Games and how United is everything that United is doing to support the Special Olympics World Games on the global stage. And then the plane polls is another way that United is supporting. So we kind of covered everything in this episode around inclusive employment to the World Games to now the plane polls. And tell us, so as we know, United is the presenting sponsor for these plane polls. So first, what is the plane poll and why United is the presenting sponsor for this event? And then we've got a quick note to our listeners. This episode is airing on September 25th. So we'll record this before a couple of them are happening, but by the time you guys hear this, a couple of these upcoming plane polls would have already happened. But we'll kind of give you kind of the basic idea. But share with us what is the plane poll, why United is supporting this event, and about a couple of the plane polls that we have.
You got it. I think we all know that Special Olympics has some really fun and inventive fundraising opportunities. We just had the Duck Derby, where they dropped thousands of rubber duckies in the Chicago River, which is one of my favorite days of the year because it's just so funny to me. And my little brother is obsessed with rubber ducks, so he gets a video every year. There's the polar plunge. That's really fun and exciting, although freezing, and that is not built for me. In taking a look at all of the great things that Special Olympics does to raise funds, we really obviously connected with the plane poll. It's at our airport. It's easily accessible for our employees. And what do we have? We have big, beautiful United planes that will more than happy make an appearance at a plane poll. And so this year we are presenting sponsor at Denver International Airport, Dulles, and then O'Hare. And so the plane polls obviously are a fundraising activity for Special Olympics. Prior to COVID, we used to have internal plane polls, which were a huge hit for our employees. We don't do that anymore, but we're able to harness that energy and really encourage folks to create teams to support Special Olympics. And so and this may sound a little wild when I explain what it is, but basically there's a plane, usually a 737, with a giant rope attached to it, and you and 25 of your closest friends, who hopefully are very strong, pull that plane 12 feet, and ideally the team that does it the fastest wins. There's competitive teams, but there's also teams, like usually the team I'm on is just, we're happy to be there. And it's hilarious to pull a plane. So we, through our sponsorship, provide the United Airplane. It's a great opportunity, again, for us to highlight our partnership with Special Olympics. We're gifted some teams, and so Daniel's representing the Bridge BRG now. We'll have 2 teams at those 3 plane pulls with Bridge members. And then we encourage all other employees to create teams to fundraise for Special Olympics, to where they're, good leads the way blue out there, and pull that plane and raise some funds for Special Olympics. So it's really exciting. It's always funny when I send a picture to my family, because my dad is like, "What are you doing? This is not fair." I'm like, I'm working.
It's a lot of fun. I know the past couple of years I've emceed at the plane pull at O'Hare, and this year I know we have our supervisor set up a team for us, OG SOSAs. So we'll be pulling one of the planes, and then Kevin and Jill from Washington Dulles invited my girlfriend Georgia and I on September 9th. We're going to come out to Dulles to that plane pull. So I'm looking. So it'll be two plane pulls that I'll be at this year. But yeah, it's always a fun time, fun event.
Exactly. It's a great way to get your families out there too. So, we have our United teams that are just employees, but also if your friends or your families want to join, and you're more than welcome to do that. So it's a great way for everybody to kind of meet. Last year we had a beautiful day, so celebrate those last fall days before winter comes, and pull a plane, which not many people could say that they've done.
And so we'll definitely you all listening can find either in Denver, Dallas, or O'Hare the different plane pulls that are happening. And for our listeners, you can I'll try to put links on specialchronicles.com/United in the show notes for this episode, where you can learn more, and also listen to previous episodes of this Unified at Work series, which features conversations about the meaning of inclusive employment. So on specialchronicles.com/Unified at Work, we got tons of other conversations the past 4 years of this series. Before we get to that final question as we come to a close, do you have any final thoughts on your overall time here today on the Special Chronicles show?
No, just thank you so much for inviting me to join. I've been celebrating Jill and Susie and Sandra and Oscar and Jessica and so many of our other employees being on Special Chronicles. So I feel like I'm part of the club now. So thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad that we were able to highlight 3 different parts of the partnership, from our SOSAs, our inclusive employment, the World Games, and the plane pulls. So we were able to kind of get that it's a lot more than just United giving money. Like there was a lot more. There was a lot more meat to the bone. Meat to
the global partnership, and so we're going to go ahead and roll, as they say in podcasting, we're going to go ahead and roll the bumper that will introduce the final question.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising. Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
different.
Difference. Our demands are
Equality. Equality. Equality.
dignity,
Dignity.
and the recognition of our shared humanity. We will not stop or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
More divided than ever. And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution.
Is inclusion. Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
So ever since I attended the 2019 Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi about 5 years ago, I've been concluding all these podcast episodes with one point of question that I think kind of gets to the health and gets people to kind of think and take something with them, that you're not just listening to this podcast, but you can actually take something and as you know, the inclusion revolution is a big part of our Special Olympics movement. Inclusion with DEI is important at United, and so we'll conclude with what does inclusion mean to you?
Ooh.
Oh,
I'm back. You're
yes.
back.
We're back.
I think inclusion means to me that everyone is not only accepted, but really celebrated for their unique skill set that they bring to their existence. So, just having empathy for people, meeting them where they are, but then also celebrating who they are, how they show up in the world, and the skills they bring to their professional and personal life. Teamwork does make the dream work. Everybody has complementary skill sets. And so maybe something that I may not be good at, you're great at. And if we work together and really celebrate both sides of that coin, we can accomplish more. So I think inclusion to me is just really celebrating everyone as an individual, and knowing how special and wonderful they are.
Absolutely. Well, that's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. It's been a joy finally have you on, and that we're able to cover a lot of what this global partnership is all about. We'll be back next week. So for all of you listening, tap that follow button if you haven't already, and keep following the Special Chronicles show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, or right on specialchronicles.com. Follow us on social media. Subscribe to our newsletter. I can find all those links again on specialchronicles.com. We'll be back next week, and every Monday, 6 p.m. Central Time, new episode will drop on specialchronicles.com and wherever you get your podcasts. And until then, choose to include. See you next week. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes absolutely for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks as always to our business manager, Adam Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.